Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, and also those of you who use the QR code or the link provided on Facebook and YouTube, we thank all of you for your continued giving and your continued support as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. And I want to remind everyone, we are Facebook Live, we are YouTube Live, we are at Daily Divine Direction on YouTube. Every broadcast is archived in perpetuity, and we want you to stay connected with us throughout the week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on our internet inspiration station, radio station, WKAPFaith.com, Faith Empowerment Radio, where we play music 24 hours a day that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. And I want everyone to stay tuned. We're going to be making some additional changes in the last quarter of this year. We want to complete some of the expansion on our broadcast, on our platforms. We want you to stay tuned in, but most importantly, I want to thank everyone again. We have been broadcasting live in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, for 5 years at the 1st of October. And so I just want to say to everyone, thank you for being with us, thank you for supporting us, and thank you for staying tuned in. And of course, we're going to be adding to our platform. We have our monthly contributor with us every month, Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com, every first Thursday of the month. So we are going to be adding some components, so stay tuned in. You don't want to miss this, as we are here to enhance the quality of life in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your husband is late for everything. You said it is annoying, however, no matter how much you bring it to his attention, he still does the same thing. Okay, so you want to know, how do you get him to stop doing this? You're not going to get him to stop doing this, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. You're going to have to come to terms with this, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. Your husband likes the attention. The reason, for men, and I'm speaking from the male perspective because, usually if it's the woman who's late getting ready, it's because she's preparing herself to be beautiful, to present herself to the public in a way that is going to be acknowledged properly. And so women, because you have more to do than men, you may take a little longer. So, that's why we encourage everyone to manage your time effectively and efficiently so you're not late also. But when men are late, it's because they like attention. They want to be the last one to get ready so that all eyes are on them. They want to be the last one to show up so that they can make a grand entrance. I know women do it also, but primarily for men, that's really the issue. If we're late doing anything, it's really because we just want the attention. Because men, we're not programmed that way. You know, remember, men and women are wired differently, but men are not we're not programmed to be late. We're wired by God to naturally be on time, unless we are slow because we want attention. Now, I understand there can be exceptions to every rule in the sense of maybe if you have someplace to be first thing in the morning, you know, and you are someone who likes to work out in the morning, you will maybe running a few minutes behind, but that's not going to happen regularly. You know, usually men, we will schedule enough time to get our workout in, get shaved, showered, and out the door before it's time for us to be out the door, because that's the way we're wired. Men who are not on time because they like the attention. And what I mean is, so let's be clear on something. On time for you may not be on time for your spouse, for any one of our female audience. And the reason I say that is because if you're a woman who is constantly saying, let's get ready, let's get ready, let's get ready to your spouse, he has his time set. He just may not be on your time. You just have to realize where your time syncs up, where the synergy occurs. And what that looks like, as long as you're not late getting to where you're going, then there's really no reason to have that conversation. But, however, I do want to make this point very clear. Your husband just needs attention. And the reason that he's late everywhere is because he wants the attention. We're just not wired for that. So I started off by saying you're not going to be able to get him to change that, and that you just have to come to terms with that. But the way you come to terms with that so that it doesn't become annoying to you is you give him a different time. If you know something starts at 9, tell him it starts at 8:30. If you know something starts at 8 p.m., tell him it starts at 7:30. If you make a dinner reservation and the reservation is for 7, tell him that the reservation is for 6:30. That's the only way. And I know some of you are going to say, well, Pastor Pope, didn't she be lying? But no, what you're doing is adjusting the time schedule. I mean, I know that sounds better than lying, but the reality is you're adjusting the time schedule because you know what you're dealing with. All I'm trying to do is make certain that we're all efficient and that we're all getting the best version of our lives that we can possibly enjoy. You know, so I've said this maybe once or twice, maybe more, on the broadcast over the last 5 years. I am a firm believer in doing everything in 2-hour segments. So no matter what, depending on my commute time, of course, I schedule everything for 2 hours. So that means that in the morning, I know I have meditation, I have prayer, and then I'm going to try and get a workout in, shave, shower, and get dressed. I know that if I do all of that, I can do all of that effectively. And watch this, because 30 minutes for meditation, 30 minutes for prayer time, 30 minutes for a workout, because it's important to get our heart rate up. Now, if I have more time in the morning, I may work out a little longer, but that's my routine. And then I know, 30 minutes for a workout, shave. If I'm working out at home, I'll break up the sets. I'll do one set, then shave, then do another set right before I jump in the shower. And generally, I can get to wherever I need to go within 15 minutes. If I know I've got an hour commute time, then I know some things, there's going to have to be some adjustments in the schedule. I'm just saying we all can manage our time more effectively and efficiently. So you're going to have to make some adjustments in your delivery to your spouse, to your husband. You're going to have to tell him 30 minutes before you're due someplace, you're going to have to give him a 30-minute window. So meaning that if you know that something starts at 7, you're going to have to tell him 6:30 so you can be out of the house by 6 if there's a 30-minute commute time, and 7 if there is and 5:30 if there's an hour commute time. So we can make those adjustments, but I do want to encourage you, don't allow it, what he does may be annoying, but it's really not annoying if you learn how to adjust your mindset to it. Because he's been doing this for a lot of years. He's been being late to everything for a lot of years, and you've been letting it slowly become an annoyance to you. It's been an annoyance to you for a long time. And you've talked with him about it. You've spoken to him about it, but unfortunately, he just likes the attention. Not just from you. It's when he arrives where he's going. He wants the attention. When he is, for lack of a better term, when he comes downstairs and goes into the garage, your eyes and whoever else is waiting for him, all eyes are on him. He needs the attention. He's late going where he's going because he needs the attention. You're going to have to make a change in the time schedule so that you can get where you're going on time. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you're not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that the people in your life are not consistent in meeting your expectations. You want to know, how do you make better choices with whom you are going to invest your time? That's an excellent question. It is fine to give people opportunity. There will be some variables about this, and some of you may send me some. First of all, I love receiving your communications, whether it is by email, whether it's by text, whether it's by communication through one of our platforms. So keep them coming. newlifepastor@comcast.net. And of course, you can always reach me on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. But listen to this. People will say that maybe you're setting your expectations too high for other people, but it's your life that you're trying to maximize. So you let people in your life with expectations. You have to have expectations for what role do they play in your life? What are your expectations of them? And if they do not meet those expectations, then once they show you who they are, you have to believe them. That's the first thing. Don't let anyone tell you shouldn't have expectations. If you're investing your time into other people, by including them in your life, you have a right to have an expectation, and particularly of their consistency. If they cannot be consistent, then you understand who they are. You know how much to invest in them. Now here becomes the problem. For them, you give them an opportunity, but if they don't maximize the opportunity, you can only invest a certain portion. And I always refer back to the stock market, for example. There are certain publicly traded companies that you're going to invest more in than you will others, because they may be stronger companies with a higher market cap. They've been strong consistently for a long period of time. Consistency, longevity, two of the keys to success. So you will invest in those companies. You might invest in some short-term companies that have been around a while, but they are not companies that you're going to maximize your investment. And then, if you're like me, you're not going to get into crypto space. So you're not going to get into investing your time in the people who are all over the place anyway. But the people that you begin investing your time in, There's nothing wrong with you giving people the opportunity. If they do not meet your expectation of the return on the investment of your time, then they've shown you who they are, and you've got to believe it. Now, the problem is often that people have other variables that will sometimes preclude them from meeting your expectation. And that's why, in your annual review, when you work for a corporation, your annual review is basically categorized by does not meet expectations, meets expectations, I'm giving you the simple version of this, or exceeds expectations. And the truth of the matter is that when you invest your time in someone, if they meet your expectations, then you can invest more time in them. You can invest more time in them because you know you're going to get a return on that investment. Now, what that means, listen, I don't want anybody to misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you necessarily need to get a monetary return from them. I'm not even suggesting that you may need to get a tangible return from them. What I'm suggesting to you is that you will see them enhance the quality of their life. You will see their life being improved. You will see them begin to maximize, you'll first begin to see them enter into a place of success. And then as you continue to pour the investment of your time in them, you will begin to see them maximize their success and begin to experience the fullness of God. And so it's great to give people an opportunity. If they do not meet your expectations, once again, then you know who they are. They've shown you who they are. And now it's time for you to say, okay, I'm not going to pour good money in the bag, meaning I'm not going to spend more time on investing in them. I don't have a problem sharing information with them that will develop them, that will help them in their development process and in their growth process. However, I only have a limited amount of time to do that because they're not meeting the expectations. They're certainly not exceeding the expectations because they're not meeting the expectations. If they do not meet expectations, in a company, they will downsize you. They'll downsize you if you are not meeting expectations. You will eventually be looking for a new position. And the goal for all of us should not be living in mediocrity of, I'm just meeting expectations. I'm just doing what's necessary to get through the year and meet my evaluation, the standards of my evaluation. That can't be our goal. It can't be our goal to dwell in mediocrity. Our goal has to be to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. Our goal has to be to maximize our success. Now, I know people will say, well, there's variables to success. Everyone doesn't view success in the same way. But can I just make this proclamation today? Success is success. Whatever you're doing, you're either being the best at what you're doing or you're not being the best. And if you're not being the best, you can't maximize your success. Success means that whatever you decide to do, someone will say, well, if I am meeting the standards, that's success to me. Well, that's not success because you're not maximizing the standards. The standards are set. There's a benchmark for the standards in whatever we do in our life. There's a benchmark for our health. There's a benchmark for our wealth. There's a benchmark for our intellect. There's a benchmark. The question is, what do we do to exceed beyond the benchmarks that are set? And what that means is this. Watch this. When you know that you can meet the benchmark, when you know if I show up and do this every single day, I show up on time. I work throughout the day. I accomplish my work by the end of the day, even if there's some carryovers because you're waiting for colleagues to return emails to you, or whatever the case may be, that may have to be returned because you don't have any control over someone else's, work schedule or their level of commitment. But even if there's some emails that have to be returned by someone else, you've gotten out, for example, all of your emails, you've returned your calls, you've responded to your messages, whatever the case may be. You may have some carryover, but you're meeting the standards. The question is, what are you doing beyond that? So no matter what, our goal is to be the best that we can be at whatever we're doing. Now you might say, well, what does that really mean? Because there's some things that are not required of me. Well, what's required and necessary and what is accomplished are not the same thing. Because exceeding expectations means that you're accomplishing more than what is expected of you. And when you've laid out what's expected, and people that enter into your life or that are already in your life do not meet those expectations or refuse to meet those expectations, then you know who they are. And again, sometimes there's variables because there's other people in their lives that may cause some lack of the ability to exceed expectations. See, life is a funny thing. There's so many traps that are set that can distract us, that can impede our progress. We've got to really be intentional, conscious first of all, and intentional, conscious about the traps that are set, and then intentional about everything we do to take the right steps to get to where God has purposed for our lives. And if we do that, I can promise you, we're going to really get to a place where we have a better understanding of our surroundings and our own universe. You are responsible for your own universe. And you've got to make certain that whatever time you invest in someone else, that you're getting a return on the investment of your time. One more moment, I will share with you something that I shared with the students at the Achievers Academy this morning. One of the things I told them is, you've got to know that you're responsible. You're accountable and responsible for your own success, maximizing your success. And then we have to run our lives like a solvent corporation. We have to make certain that every step we're taking is leading to maximizing our success. We got to be intentional about that. So you really should set expectations for other people higher. You should set expectations high enough that it's going to lead them to you getting the return on your investment. One of the things I said to them, they always, every year they challenge me with this. They're, the students that come into the academy, they'll say, well, why do you do this? You don't get paid for doing this. You go to all these schools, you operate these Achievers Academies, nobody's paying you for this. Why would you do this? And my response to them is always, I'm always looking for the return on the investment of my time. Our time is given. Your success is the return on our investment. If we can see you go through middle school, high school, go to college, graduate from college, begin your career, and someday run into you, whether it's at the King of Prussia Mall or whether it's at an ice cream shop, and you and your family are having a great quality of life, that's the return, the greatest return on investment that we could ever ask for. Money's not going to do it. The quality of your life is going to give us that. And that's why we aren't paid for this, for operating the Achievers Academy. That's the reason that we don't ask to be compensated for doing this. We raise money for our college tours. We raise money for the programs, for the Achievers Golf Academy. We raise money for programming. But we don't ask to be paid for going into the schools and offering the program and the curriculum, because we understand that the return on our investment comes from the student's success. Not just at middle school, not just at high school, not even just at college, but their success in life. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need: shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And right now, you can save a lot of money if you order 3 high-quality cotton shirts from Charles Tyrwhitt. They will provide those shirts to you for $99 and ship them to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And this segment is also sponsored by The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on 5th Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at the retail store. They have everything you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers, who indicated it is that time of year when everyone wants you to attend every charitable event or every service event, you said also. And now that the pandemic is over, you said you want to know, how do you afford attending every event, and not just afford, but how do you allocate your time for every event possible? Here's my answer: check, please. So here's the thing. I will never forget someone who was a family friend, very dear to us, who was a physician in Philadelphia. And it's something he told me, because he was very active in charitable affairs and public service. Dr. Johnson, here's what he said to me. He said, "Rev, don't try to go to everything. Most people just want you there so you can write a check anyway." He said, just write a check. Don't go to everything, because you'll wear yourself out trying to go to everything that people want you to attend, when really they'd love to have your presence. That's great. I'm paraphrasing, but this is the conversation he and I had. Sure, they'd love to have your presence, but most importantly, they need your support. So write a check. So I learned I don't have to be at everything. The truth be told, I don't want to attend everything, because I've got a full schedule. But if I can support something I believe in, then we can write a check. That's the easiest way of handling it, not because we're looking for a way out, but just because we love to support nonprofits. We love to support charitable causes. We have philanthropic endeavors. But at the end of the day, can't be at everything. Don't want to be at everything. Just don't have the time to be at everything. Check, please. Just send a check. You'll find that people will appreciate you. I promise. Even if you don't attend every event, if you write a check to those causes that are important to you, I guarantee you'll get another invite next year. You'll get an invite every single year because you write a check. They'd love to have you in person, but unless you have to speak at something, that's always that's always important to me. If someone asks me to speak at something, I know that they want me there for a purpose, and I'll as long as there's not a scheduling conflict, I will try to make it. But if you just ask me to attend, I know you think our presence is important to you, but most importantly, you need our support. And that's a much easier way to make certain that everyone, including our own schedule, is effective and efficient. 3D, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast. 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you, and may God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Have a great day today. I look forward to being in your viewing environment tomorrow. Remember, we are Facebook Live. We are YouTube Live at Daily Divine Direction. And we ask you to stay connected with us throughout the day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at our internet radio station, WKAPfaith.com, which is faith, WKAP Faith.